All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our guest speaker series featuring the candidates for Orange County School Board District 7. This evening, we're going to be hearing from candidates Erika Bell and Jeannetta Maxena. Melissa Bird was unable to attend due to scheduling conflicts. Currently, right now, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Jeannetta Maxena. One thing to note, the candidates will have an opportunity to have a opening statement, and then we'll go right into the questions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Jeannetta Maxena.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Jeannetta Maxena, and I have a mission to make a difference in my community, serve all residents, and improve low-performing schools in the district. I am also an advocate for teachers, and I believe in raising teachers' salaries. I was born in Winter Garden. I was raised in the Apopka, Plymouth area, so District 7 native. And I'm also a graduate of Apopka High School. I went on to UCF, and I have a degree in political science. I strongly believe in public service and giving back to the community. So I started to work as an educator, first as a tutor at Eccleston Elementary, and then I worked as a teacher at Wekiva High School. I also worked as a teacher at Leesburg High School. So I know what teachers are going through in the classroom, and I also know what our students need. I'm also earning a master's in public administration at my alma mater, or UCF. And it has given me certain strengths and certain abilities. So I have the ability to lead and manage in public governance. I have the ability to participate and contribute to the policy process. I have the ability to analyze, synthesize, think critically, solve problems, and make decisions. I have the ability to articulate and apply public service perspective. I have the ability to communicate and interact productively with a diverse and changing workforce. I am the best candidate for the position of Orange County School Board Member, District 7. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jeannetta. So we're going to go ahead and move into the question portion, and then when Erika pops in, I'll go ahead and backtrack and have Erika introduce herself. So one of the first questions that we have is going to be concerning COVID-19 and school preparedness. Right now, many students will be heading back to school in various forms, whether it be in the classroom or online, starting this coming Monday. What do you think schools can do in the COVID-19 era to keep students and faculty and staff safe?
First of all, not reopen a brick and mortar style school. On July 30th, the Orlando Sentinel posted an article, and it stated that the attorney for the Florida Department of Education said that the Orange County School Board can decide when to open schools, and that they did not need the waiver. And I want people to know that the incumbent was one of the members who voted to reopen schools. So kids are going back to school on August 21st. School starts this Monday virtually on August the 10th. I would have done what Miami-Dade schools have done, and that is not open brick and mortar schools. Open in a remote setting only. Wait until later in the 9 weeks, or wait until October to ask parents and see how families and teachers feel about going back to school. I think we're doing things too fast. I don't believe that there's anything that schools can do to really keep teachers and students safe. And I know that because I've been in the classroom recently. So I know I've cleaned my classroom. I've washed my hands multiple times a day. I still got sick from the cold or flu. So I don't believe that there's anything that schools can do to keep our teachers and our students safe. And that's one reason why CTA has decided to sue the district. It's because they're promising things that they shouldn't. Since we're going back to school, I hope that the school board ensures that every teacher, school bus driver, staff, employee, and student has the PPE required, or the masks and hand sanitizer needed to be safe and clean throughout the school day, and that we follow proper procedures and distancing protocols on the school bus and in the classroom, in the hallways, at the bathroom, wherever. But right now, I wish that we would not reopen schools.
All right, thank you. Another question is, what obstacles do schools expect, or should schools expect to face due to COVID-19 with their arts and sports programs?
This is really sad because we need arts. Our students need an outlet to express themselves. I believe in the arts program, whether that's music. I played classical piano back in high school. So I've noticed that at some schools, certain arts program are not, or will not be used during this year, the 2020 school year. So it's a hard one. Arts is very important. I believe that we need to keep as many arts programs that we can have, so that students have an outlet to express themselves musically, or through theater, or through writing, through actual painting. And so I definitely believe that the arts program should stay intact, should remain an option, should have those elective options for our students moving forward. And definitely when COVID-19 cases decline, we should definitely have more options for our students. And when it comes to sports are close contact, and I don't think it's safe right now to have sports programs where there's close contact. I don't see how we could keep our kids safe with sports, football or basketball. I don't believe we can properly social distance with our students and keep them safe during that time. So maybe just hold off on the sports until those numbers decline.
Thank you, Jeannetta. One question that kind of actually came to mind for me is the fact that students will be going back to the classroom next week. You have said that you don't believe that the schools are ready to open due to not being prepared for COVID-19 preparations and whatnot. Many parents have opted to actually sign their kids up for online virtual school. What do you think would be the best solution? Do you think the best solution would be online only for the time being, or do you think it should be more of like a hybrid where it's online only for part of the school year, and then whenever the cases subside, then it should go back to brick and mortar?
I definitely believe in a hybrid model of education moving forward. I think that parents should have, and teachers should have, the option to teach virtually. There's the Orange County Virtual School. There's also LaunchEd, which our district will be using. I definitely agree with the LaunchEd, and I think that a lot of parents should take advantage of it. Furthermore, I think like Miami-Dade schools have done is, have virtual school. We could keep our LaunchEd virtual school until October, and then when those cases decline, we might be able to open a brick and mortar school. But right now, the district has chose to open schools, the brick and mortar schools, on the 21st. On the 10th, all students will have to participate in Launch Ed, and that's whether or not you have access to the internet. So one thing that's important that I would make sure is that everyone has internet access, because everyone doesn't. Spectrum does offer a program that supplies a low cost for internet services to families who receive SNAP benefits, or if your child receives free or reduced lunch. So I do want to let the public know that that program is available to them.
Thank you. And we're going to move into some questions that are coming from our membership. First question is, would you support a zero tolerance policy against discriminating and bullying LGBTQ students?
So everyone has the right to go to school in a safe and welcoming environment. So I would support a zero tolerance policy against bullying our LGBTQ youth.
Perfect, thank you. In Virginia, a transgender student was denied access to a bathroom that aligned with his gender identity per school board policy. If elected, how would you address this issue? In other words, should Orange County Public Schools have a blanket policy? What would that policy be if so, or should it be on a person-by-person basis?
Well, we must apply standards and ethics of the 21st century. We need non-gender conforming bathrooms, gender neutral bathrooms. At my alma mater, which is UCF, there's the women's bathrooms, men's bathroom, and there's non or gender neutral bathrooms. So it's time for us, as a district, as a school board, to have gender neutral bathrooms, and this is to ensure that everyone is comfortable.
Great, thank you. Even with the recent Supreme Court ruling, one of my top concerns as a future educator is the possibility of getting fired for who I choose to love. Would you work to ensure that doesn't happen to Orange County Public Schools' phenomenal teachers and staff? And if so, how? That question actually came from one of our members, Brooke Wilson.
Let me say, discrimination is a very real issue. I've experienced it firsthand. I remember going to an OCPS job fair, and being young and Black, I wasn't taken seriously by one particular principal. I went for a job which was AP Government, which I have a degree in political science. I was a highly qualified teacher. I had some experience under my belt at that point. And he said, no. He looked at me and he said, no, I'm looking for someone with experience. He didn't have my resume. He didn't know anything about me. He just saw that I was young and that I was Black. And so I know firsthand that discrimination exists. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm very against any form of discrimination, and I will actively fight against it. So I plan to have a District 7 hotline, so a phone number that anyone in the district can call me and tell me about issues like discrimination that has happened, and so that I can get directly involved. I'm willing to fight against discrimination in being the next board member for District 7.
Okay, thank you. This next question comes in from another one of our members, Robin Witt. Should Orange County public school teachers and administrators be allowed to incorporate their own religious beliefs into school lessons and policies? If so, how would you ensure that schools remain a welcoming and inclusive environment for all students and teachers?
Well, I do believe in the separation of church and state. I, you know, I don't believe in pushing your beliefs onto someone. That's not fair. Everyone should, like I said before, everyone should feel safe and welcomed at school. So, you know, and there's also, we do have a moment of silence. And during that moment of silence, students or teachers or staff, anyone can pray to whomever they want to pray to, or choose not to participate. So it's I think that we should have an option to be accepting to everyone.
Perfect, thank you. And that actually kind of segues into my next question, and you kind of touched on it already. Many people say that prayer has left the schools and that they should bring prayer back into schools. I'm actually a product of Osceola County public school systems, and when I was attending school there, we actually had a prayer club that I was a part of. Do you think that schools should have a prayer club? If so, should it be open to any religious belief, or should it be exclusively just for Judeo-Christian beliefs?
There should never be anything exclusive for one group, because what that causes is a marginalization of other people. And again, that's what I'm fighting against. It should be open and accessible to all people. But I do, you know, prayer groups are great. I definitely, as a teacher, I prayed before I came to class, before fourth period, and I prayed so that I could make it throughout the end of the day. But people should be allowed to pray for whoever they want, and they should feel accepted in their social circles. And we should not place we should not, you know, conform to only Judeo Christian backgrounds.
Excellent, thank you. Jeannetta, where do you stand on the issue of taxpayer dollars going to discriminatory private schools through the voucher system?
I will not waste public tax dollars on private schools or private school vouchers. I'm a product of Orange County Public Schools. I've been a public school teacher, and I know that the public tax dollars deserve and should be in public schools. So I do not, you know, there was a recent case of actually a public school a private school in the Apopka area that would not allow a child who had dreads in his hair to attend. So I definitely don't support discriminatory private schools, and I believe in keeping our public funding in public schools.
Excellent, thank you. Excuse me. So I want you to, some people may not be aware of like what actually, you know, the school board does in terms of like it being an elected position. Can you share your views on what an elected school board member is and does, and like what you feel like you could bring to the table?
And an elected school board member creates policy initiatives that helps her district. And that is what I will do when I'm the Orange County School Board member for District 7, is create certain policy initiatives that help everyone. One thing I really want to do is create literacy programs, because as a teacher and as an auntie, I noticed that children really struggle in reading. It's a problem, and they're required to test for the FSA, but they're struggling readers. So why don't we have after school programs? Why don't we have summer reading camps for our students, something that makes reading exciting and fun again? So I would definitely work to ensure there's literacy programs, public funding stays with public schools. I'll also definitely work to ensure that no one, no staff, no employee is discriminated against. And I will also create policy that expands educational opportunities for all people in District 7, including, you know, people from low socioeconomic status or Black and brown students. So I'll definitely try and make education more accessible to all as a District 7 elected member.
Great. You mentioned the FSA. I attended school whenever the FCAT was a thing, and many like parents, students, and teachers, they were concerned that instead of students, actually going to school to learn like the specific subject matter that they're supposed to learn, that they were being taught the subject matter to be taught for the FCAT. Do you believe that state required tests like FCAT and FSA are necessary? If so, how? In that being said, many teachers have also said that they feel like they're teaching to a test rather than just like teaching.
I know exactly how it feels. Teachers, we have to use Marzano instructional strategies. We have to teach the Florida standards. And I got very good with teaching the standards. And I noticed that my students were learning very well with it as well. So I think that, having a common curriculum in place is important, so that all students are getting the same educational opportunity. But there is too much testing. Now, we have to have testing to benchmark and to see our students' progress in reading and math is necessary. However, we don't have to test for every subject. My students were, it was just, they were over test. They had to take a test for science and a test for history. And I think that's a little bit too much. We don't have to test for every subject, but we should keep benchmarks and see student performance on how they're doing in reading and math. Yes.
Okay, great. So District 7, can you tell us a little bit more about District 7? Like what areas, which areas of Orange County does that cover? Yeah.
All right, so District 7 is my home. It is the Apopka. It mostly covers Apopka, Ocoee, and Winter Garden. It also covers those little areas like Plymouth, where I'm from, and Zellwood and Oakland. So it covers like little places and little pockets within Orange County, Florida. We're northwest. We have a really diverse group of people, really great group of people. And however, District 7 schools are underperforming. They are. So there's a lot of C schools in District 7, and there's 2 D schools in District 7. And those 2 D schools are predominantly Black schools. And as a candidate for Orange County School Board, I want to do something about that. I don't want those schools to fall and be an F school. I want to, apply those literacy programs there at those schools, and really talk with the parents and build a community. So that's a little bit about District 7. Did I answer the question? Would you like some more information?
Yes, that was great.
Okay.
Let's see. Looks like we got a question coming in our Q&A section from one of our members, Robin Witt. Do you believe transgender students should be allowed to participate on the sports team that align with their gender identity? For example, should trans women be allowed to participate on women's sports teams?
yes, trans women are women, and they should be allowed to play on women's sports teams.
Perfect, good. At this point, it looks like we have reached the end. We actually don't have any more questions for you, Jeannetta. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you to give your closing statement and anything else you want District 7 residents to know.
Okay. Well, thank you all so very much. Thank you to the Rainbow Democrats and also the Young Democrats of Orange County for hosting this wonderful event. I'm Jeannetta Maxena. I am endorsed by Run for Something 2020, and it is a organization that helps young people like myself, progressive people who want to make a change in their community. You can always check out my website at maxenaforschoolboard.com. Maxena is spelled M-A-X-E-N-A. You can my website, I said my website, Facebook at maxenaforschoolboard.com, Twitter at Jeannetta Maxena, and email, you can definitely email me, campaignteam at maxenaforschoolboard.com. I am here for you. I know that you want your voice heard. I know that that is a need, and I'm here to be a voice for our District 7 community, and to really change things, because we do have an overwhelming amount of low performing schools, and the incumbent hasn't talked about those low performing schools until this election season. So I am a real candidate. I'm working hard for not just for your votes, but just to make a change in our District 7 community, because we really need it. Vote for me. There's early voting going on till the 16th. Go ahead, vote Jeannetta Maxena for Orange County School Board District 7. And if you are going to choose to vote in the primary, remember August 18th, 2020, August 18th, vote Jeannetta Maxena. Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeannetta. And to answer your question, Courtney, unfortunately, Erika Bell was not able to hop on. We were trying to wait to see if she was hopping on, but she was not able to. And Melissa Bird, she had a scheduling conflict, which prevented her from attending the forum this evening. So again, I want to thank you so much, Jeannetta, for attending our forum, and thank you to the Orange County Young Democrats for co-hosting our events. Thank you everyone for attending, and I hope everybody has a great night.
Good night. Thank you all.
Night.
Goodbye.